Evening, ladies and gentlemen. 6 p.m. Tuesday, January 9th, 2018. Town Board meeting is called to order. First items on our agenda will be two public hearings. The first public hearing, the Grand Rapids Town Board will conduct a public hearing regarding the discontinuation of a portion of a certain public way located in the town of Grand Rapids. The certain public road portion is described as follows. To wit, the undeveloped east-west portion of Daly Avenue from 49th Street South to a point 940 feet east where said road intersects 52nd Street South, said road being 40 foot wide and bordering the north of the east one half of the northwest quarter NW, one quarter of Section 23, Township 22, north of Range 6 East in the town of Grand Rapids, Wood County, Wisconsin. Everybody understood that, correct? That will be our first public hearing. And Lisa, would you read the notice, if you wish?
Oh, yes. Notice is hereby given that in accordance with Section 66.1003 and 4 of the Wisconsin statutes, the town of Grand Rapids, Wood County, Wisconsin will hold a public hearing regarding the discontinuance of a portion of a certain public way located in the town of Grand Rapids, Wood County, Wisconsin, more particularly described below, at the regular meeting of the town board, which is to be held at the town hall in the town of Grand Rapids, Wisconsin on the 9th day of January 2018 at 6 p.m. The certain road portion is described as follows: to wit, an undeveloped east-west portion of Daly Avenue from 49th Street South to a point 940 feet east where said road intersects 52nd Street South, said road being 40 feet wide and bordering the north of the east one half of the northwest quarter of Section 23, Township 22 north of Range 6 East in the town of Grand Rapids, Wood County, Wisconsin. Copies of the map of the above described section are available for viewing at the Town Hall, 2410 48th Street South, Wisconsin Rapids, Wisconsin. All interested parties are invited to attend said hearing and be heard. After the public hearing, the town board will consider the proposed final resolution for discontinuance of the portion of the road as described above.
And at this time, I'd ask the clerk if the notice was published 3 times by law.
Yes, certifying that it was published on 12/11, 12/18, and 12/26.
DOT was notified.
Yes, it was.
Jason, the property owners were notified.
Yes, it was.
All right.
Liz Pendon was filed with the registry of deeds.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we'll move to that public hearing then. Anybody wishing to speak against the discontinuation of the road, please state your name and your case. Anybody wishing to speak against the discontinuation of the 49th Street road, excuse me. Hearing none, one more time, anybody wishing to speak against? Hearing none, anybody wishing to speak in favor of? You're probably understanding that you're in favor. Anybody else wish to speak in favor? Anybody else wishing to speak in favor of? Hearing none, I'll call that public hearing closed and open up the second public hearing. That's quick, huh? Mm-hmm. Grand Rapids Town Board will conduct a public hearing on the following application. Gene Zager, application for comprehensive map change to rezone from agricultural to R2 residential from a newly created CSM Lot 2, 1.48 acres, and Lot 3, 0.95 acres. The parcel number is 0700653, being part of Lot 1, Wisconsin CCSM number 6867, located in a part of southwest 1/4, northeast 1/4 of Section 22. Everything on that has appeared to be correct. On the same procedure, anybody wishing to speak against the, let me get my facts straight here. CSM map change and the rezoning from ag to residential. Anybody wishing to speak against? Anybody wishing to speak against? Anybody wishing to speak against? Therefore, anybody wishing to speak in favor of? Yes, sir. State your name for the record.
Does this take in consideration the approval of the certified survey map? That should be, certified survey map has to be approved before it has to be rezoned, I would think.
The CSM went through the planning commission, correct?
Yes.
Yes, then it is. Yeah, all steps should be placed. These were brought to us by Peggy in the entirety for everything we needed to act on tonight. Anybody wishing to speak in favor? Hearing none, anybody else wishing to speak in favor? If not, I'll cause that public hearing closed. Then I'll open up the regular board items. The first item on our agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. If you care to join me. Behind us, folks. Yep. Patty, would you start?
Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item 2, approval of the agenda for the meeting. Hearing none. Item 3, excuse me. Go ahead.
I'm just reviewing what Jean was saying, and I see, we talked about, number 7 is the application for the comprehensive map change to rezone it.
Yes.
But we're not actually approving on the agenda.
Well, it says from the newly created CSM.
Okay. So,
If we have a technical glitch, we'll have to follow up on it.
okay,
I'm not sure that we do though.
all right.
Yep. Okay, approved minutes from December 12th, 2017. Town board meeting, closed sessions from 11/14 of 17. Town board meeting and 2018 budget meetings from 10/4/17, 10/11/17, 10/17/17, and 10/25/17.
Make a motion to approve those minutes?
Motion Patty, second Andrew. Any discussions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye. Any opposed? Public comment period. People wishing to address the board limited to 2 minutes each. Public comment period limited to a total of 30 minutes total. Anybody wish to speak to the board this evening? Rick McCulka from Reggie wanted a couple seconds.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Town of Grand Rapids Board. My name is Rick McCulka. I'm the president of the Regional Economic Growth Initiative. Reggie is an economic development organization that provides assistance to business investors, site selectors in collaboration with municipalities and other regional partners. And I really appreciate the time tonight. I wanted to come and thank you for your continued support of Reggie as a municipality in your 2018 budget, and just very briefly give you an outline of where we're going in the coming year. Those of you that do not know me, I'm a lifelong resident here of central Wisconsin. I will just in April be finishing up 22 years as a town supervisor, town chairman for the town of Rome. I'm on the board of directors of a handful of other economic development organizations, and deeply committed and enthusiastic about the direction of central Wisconsin and the economic opportunities we have here. One of them, I'm also the chair of the TIF committee and the town liaison to the Sand Valley Golf Resort, and I just want to give you a brief update that the 28,000 square foot lodge expansion is underway. You don't see it from the highway, but there's a lot of construction people out there working. The next new large course will open May 1st of 2018. That will be Mammoth. And the resort has received much accommodation and accolades for the process. #1 new course in the United States. And for those of you who are interested, Golf Week magazine did a 6-page article on the economic development impact of the resort here on central Wisconsin. It's a great read to read in a national publication about a place where we all live and thrive. So that is going to have a lot of impact on housing and economic development. I can tell you that we're busy working with several new business opportunities here and looking forward to them coming aboard in 2018. Very briefly, another major event Reggie will be hosting in May of hopefully in May of 2018, is the first ever Central Wisconsin Economic Development Summit with Representative Krug and Senator Teston and other area representatives. We'd like to call attention to Central Wisconsin, thank the rest of the legislature for the $4 million airport gift that came our way this past year, and let them know where their money is being spent and how we appreciate the attention that we are getting. Now has never been a better time for the things that are happening here in Central Wisconsin. Everyone down in Madison is paying attention. When you have the kind of job growth and economic growth that we're exhibiting, and the kind of investment in the region that the City of Wisconsin Rapids is doing with the new YMCA and the Triangle Project and Riverfront and the things that are happening, as a lifelong resident here, it's been a long time coming. I like to talk about our region, and it's a very exciting time to talk about the new things that are happening. One other major change in the economic development theater is, for a long time, one of our community foundations, Encourage, has been responsible for workforce development. And I can tell you, as economic development, that one of the roadblocks to further expansion and more jobs here is our workforce. I say often, no one in this area who's unemployed is unemployed unless they want to be unemployed or they can't pass a drug screening test. We have job opportunities at living wages for almost anyone who's interested, and that workforce development and program that was a part of Encourage for a long time. Mid-State Technical College has a new dean and vice president, Bobby Damrow, Dr. Damrow, and some new folks there. Workforce development is going to be a driving factor in Mid-State going forward as a new department. They've been in also contact with Sand Valley. They'll have a new hospitality accreditation program starting in 2018, again, as another career line of work. So it's a good time to be here. Not only is Grand Rapids investing in their future, but Wisconsin Rapids and Rome and Grand Rapids and Saratoga. The CUSA is doing their strategic planning. We're working hard with Saratoga and Rome and some of the groundwater groups there, making sure that our central Wisconsin area is a pleasant place to live and grow for us and our families for a long time.
Thank you, Rick.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anybody else in the audience wish to speak to the board this evening? Hearing none, we'll move to regular agenda items. First report, Chief Bone, the Fire Department report.
Good evening, citizens, Town of Grand Rapids Board. Our report this month's going to be considerably longer, so hopefully you get a good seat. I guess the last couple months we've had some slow months, and I always say watch what you wish for, and that the last month picked up considerably. For the month we responded to 37 calls for service, 28 EMS calls, 1 motor vehicle accident. We had 3 carbon monoxide checks. 2 of those were where we actually did find measurable levels of carbon monoxide in the houses. They did have activation of their detectors and had good outcomes of those. Actually, one was at a business that had to have their furnace, a lot of furnace repair work done on that, but significant levels. So make sure your carbon monoxide detectors are working in the winter especially, and all year. We had 1 other smoke investigation. That was a furnace malfunctioning. Didn't turn into a fire, but did significantly fill the house full of smoke. So that was a busy day shortly after a structure fire. So we did have 1 structure fire that we had significant damage. I'll be elaborating on that shortly. We did have 1 other structure that could have easily gotten going. It was a mattress that came into contact with a recessed ceiling light, and those lights get hot enough. You know, they tipped the mattress up so it was touching the ceiling, and it was enough that it actually started the mattress on fire. So like I say, just be aware of things. You know, just pay attention that just coming into contact with that light bulb could have burnt their house down. So that we got lucky on that one. We responded to a mutual aid call out in out past the casino in Nakusa's area. That was multiple agency on a significant structure out at a cranberry marsh out there. And then we had an opportunity, I guess. The city of Wisconsin Rapids had asked us if we would be willing to staff their fire department. They had one of their active firemen passed away due to a tragic accident, and one of their active members, so they asked us if we would coordinate and facilitate a 24-hour staffing of the city of Wisconsin Rapids. So in conjunction with Stevens Point Fire Department, Marshfield, ourselves, Rudolph, Port Edwards, Nakusa, and Buren Fire Departments, we put enough staff together that we actually Friday night in all the way through Saturday morning staffed the city of Wisconsin Rapids. We did respond to a couple calls, one fire call, and about 6 or 7 ambulance calls. So hopefully it's something that we never have to ask for reciprocation on, but very proud that the Wisconsin Rapids Fire Department came to us first, asked us to be the coordinating agency on it. And it was a very sad, hard time for their firemen to go through. I guess like we said, when you look at their schedules, sometimes those full-time firemen probably spend more time with their fellow firefighters than they do with their loved ones at home. So it was a very hard experience for the fire department to go through, and happy that we could assist them in their time. So that ended up being a fairly busy month. EMS training this month, we're actually going to be having Chief Pedersen will be here talking to us about some of the drug activities in our community, some of the updates, some of the things that are coming down the wire that we come into contact with on some of our medical calls, car accidents, just day-to-day things that we're responding to. Mel has a vast knowledge of that, and he's going to shed some of it to us. So that will be Thursday night here. So we'll get an update from him. Fire Department, Alliant Energy is coming in on the 15th. They'll be doing an update on, actually that'll be a joint training between the fire departments and the police departments. Just an update on power line, underground utility safety. So we will be attending that and hopefully keep everybody safe. Under public relations, our smoke detector program is starting to pick up a little speed. We've had quite a few people came in and filled out an application, received a free installation of up to 3 smoke detectors. We got a crew that will go out and come to your house, put them in, give you a little talk about fire safety, maybe look at some things that you don't see in your house on a day-to-day basis that aren't quite safe. So it's a nice program. If you can stop in either here or at the municipal building, it's a simple form to fill out, and probably isn't going to take more than a half hour, 45 minutes tops of your time to have 3 brand new smoke detectors installed. It's a program in conjunction with the American Red Cross, and really wish more people would take advantage of it. So 2 of the bigger topics I have is we want to talk about our non-structural firefighter positions. I guess we started elaborating on it a little bit a couple months ago. We're really encouraging people to consider volunteering to be on the fire department. A lot of times you hear there's a lot of schooling involved. There's a couple hundred hours to get through the certification to be a firefighter. I guess like we had mentioned, there's a lot of tasks that people can do for us and for the community that don't require that certification. A lot of the things that we do are wildland firefighting, going out to traffic accidents, doing traffic control, search and rescues, different things like that. Driving some of our trucks, if we have people that are, experienced truck drivers and could be volunteer to step up, they can drive our tankers, and that's going to free up the certified firefighters, the younger people that are able to go in and do the structural firefighting. Basically, you're looking at a commitment of a couple nights per month to come to some meeting, a training meeting and a business meeting, and then whatever calls you can attend. So I guess we're really looking for, I would like to have a whole bunch of 20-year-olds sign up, but we don't seem to be getting those. So I guess we're basically putting out a call to people to see what your time frame, your availability is. If you have the ability to help our community out, the volunteer fire department saves you a lot of money. And we can only rely upon ourselves. We can call our neighbors for mutual aid. Mutual aid is a half hour away. So we need to have people step up and try to figure out how we can work together to keep the fire department going. If you have any questions or concerns, like I said, this is men, women, anybody interested. There's, if you look on our backboard, we have quite a few female firefighters now, and we're looking for more. So don't be afraid to step out of your box a little bit and come and do something interesting. It's very rewarding work. And when we get into the discussion of the stuff behind me here shortly, you'll understand why. With that, I guess I will, if anybody has any questions on that aspect of it. Okay, feel free to stop in, contact me anytime. During the week, weekends, whatever, give me a call, stop in, office can get you in touch with me, and hopefully we can come up with some staff. I guess part of the reason we're over here tonight is we wanted to kind of break in some new technology to our township. Probably 6 months ago, Chief Pedersen sent me an email, asked me if I'd ever heard of a certain type of a device. I guess you always hear different, everybody builds a different new mousetrap. You don't know if things work, if they don't work. I started doing some exploratory investigations on the product. Met with the fire chief from Waupun, good friend. I know him extremely well. He was one of the testimonials as to the usefulness of this tool. Felt a lot more comfortable after I had somebody that I knew isn't just a paid person endorsing a product. Started doing a little more investigation into it, and we were actually hoping that we were going to break this out to the town and say, hey, someday we're probably going to use these things. Trust us, they'll work. I guess if you look at the 2 units behind me, you'll see we didn't have to wait long for that to occur. On the 23rd of December, we were called to a structure fire on corner of Reber Road and 32nd Street. The house at the time, the call came in about 10 minutes to 6 in the morning on a Saturday morning. The call came in as a kitchen fire. While en route, we heard that the people had exited the house, which is by far the best information that we ever hear on the radio. One of our police officers was on scene shortly before that. I guess kind of the timeline was officer was on scene at 4 minutes and 15 seconds after we got paged. He was in the office doing paperwork, responded emergent to the scene. 4 minutes and 15 seconds after he arrived on scene, he deployed the first unit. What the unit is it deploys a mist. It's a potassium-based aerosol that fills the house, the room, whatever is on fire. It fills that room full of this aerosol. It attacks the heat side of the fire triangle. We won't go into physics, but it basically is a cooling agent. It's relatively similar to what we used to have 40 years ago. It was called a high-pressure fire truck. Small water molecules designed to cool a fire rapidly. The intention of this unit is to knock the fire down, to slow it down, knock it back, buy the fire department some time to get there. At 3 minutes after that, I arrived on scene. The fire was already knocked down. It was starting to gain a little bit of strength. It was starting to come back. Not knowing for sure when the engine was going to be there, we deployed a second unit. The engine arrived on scene at 11 minutes after the page, went into the structure. We used approximately 50 gallons of water to totally extinguish the fire, mop it up, and overhaul the entire scene. The board has pictures of the kitchen in front of them. I guess I didn't really want to just pass them out to the public. It is somebody's house. It was a significant fire. The product did exactly what it was intended to do. The purpose of the reasoning for having the officers carry them, they're on duty, they're here, they can respond quicker, they aren't coming from their house, they're not getting out of bed, coming to the fire station, getting on a fire truck, driving to your house, which took 11 minutes. The first unit was deployed 6.5 minutes prior to the engine arrival. Normally a fire doubles in size every minute. So you can imagine what that fire would have been if it had 6.5 more minutes to continue growing. This family would have lost everything in their house. We do have a short video we want to show you to give you an idea what this product is available, what it's capable of doing. It's probably only a 2-minute video, but it shows you exactly what it does to a fire when it's properly deployed.
Sure, now it's had so long, huh?
Yeah, I know we should have tried it again.
There it goes. If you can see fine, you're good there. If not, if you want to get up and step aside, you're fine too.
This is a basement fire that was conducted down in the West Bend Fire Department. You hear the aerosol starting to be released. They're using a thermal imager to determine the heat values that they're referring to. It's amazing what technology is coming out for us. It's not going to replace fire departments, it's not going to replace firefighters, but it's a tool. It's a tool that hopefully can buy us some time. It's going to save your property. The tools aren't cheap. Both units are $600 a piece. Typically, the insurance companies have been reimbursing fire departments for their use because of the extreme lack of water damage that they're encountering. This circumstance, the ability of not going in there with thousands of gallons of water, destroying the evidence that they needed to determine that the cause of the fire was a faulty, plugged-in little Christmas decoration type thing that was in a wall outlet. They have the evidence that they need now to go back upon that manufacturer. That type of stuff, a lot of times in the course of a fire and the mop-up and the cleanup that occurs, that stuff gets destroyed. So the insurance company was extremely amazed with what this did. We have submitted a bill or a request for compensation for them. Can't guarantee you that they'll do it. I guess the other thing that it does, it puts our firefighters the ability to go into an environment that is survivable. If I have to ask a crew to go into a structure that's 210 or 217 degrees or one that's 1,000 degrees and growing, I would very much prefer to ask my crew to go into the 217 degrees. It's an amazing thing. If you're in the right spot, it's not going to put every fire out for us by any means. It needs to be deployed quickly. It needs to be before that fire gets to be uncontrolled, free venting out through the roof type of scenario. Currently, the fire department, I have one in my truck. I'll probably have one in one of my assistant chiefs, and then we have one unit in each of the squad cars. The officers that are on duty 24/7 are carrying them. Typically, they're within normally a 3, 4, or 5 minute driving time from any area in the town, and they can get there and deploy them quickly. So it's something. The last thing I really thought that we would have 2 used units sitting here. Officer Conover is here this evening. He was there to witness the amount of fire that was there when the first one went in. I'm sure if you can look at those pictures, there was considerable fire rolling over on the ceiling, a whole lot more than what you saw in that video. I guess the Christmas card that fell down was a thank you from the citizens that live over there. Said thank you to all the members of the Grand Rapids Volunteer Fire Department who came to our assistance at our house on Saturday, December 23rd. Your quick actions and the new technology saved us from losing everything. Thank you, Dave, Jeanette, Kyle, JD, Sam, and Sokol. Their 3 pets were still alive. We did unfortunately lose 2 cats in the fire. Chances are they were gone before Cody got in his squad car. The young man was able to get the 3 dogs and himself out of the house. They had working smoke detectors, which woke him up. Both parents were gone to work that morning. So everything really fell into place. It was a safe working environment. We had no injuries. The entire on scene, we were back here and back in service within an hour and a half. So I guess sometimes when we invest in technology and have the staff to utilize them, we can save people's property even better than we have in the past. What?
Turn the TV off. I got it.
I don't know how well you can see it, but it is basically the entire kitchen was substantially gutted. So just kind of an exciting thing for us. Got to appreciate Officer Conover's activity there. We did training with all the officers prior to this to ensure that they're not putting themselves in harm's way. Basically the kind of the weight of a bowling ball. It's got 2 pins, a safety pin and an activator pin. When you pull the activator pin, you have 11 seconds or 8 seconds to throw it in. So you want to be in position. Typically it's going to get thrown through a window. If we can open a door and slide it in, that's fine. It doesn't have to get into the fire itself. All it has to be is in the vicinity because the aerosol fills the cavity of the property up. The Waupun Fire Department used them one on a kitchen fire and one on a motel room fire. Same output, 40, 50 gallons of water, and they put out a fully involved room and contents fire. So just wanted to let you know that that is something that we're carrying. We are by far the first in the central Wisconsin area that I know is carrying them. They were purchased with 2% dues funds, which is money that we get from the state of Wisconsin for doing our fire inspections of commercial properties. So there's not one dime invested of tax money in having these products for the initial purchase of them. I can't guarantee you that we'll get reimbursement from all the insurances, but we're definitely going to try. So I guess anybody have any questions about them or any comments?
No, it's amazing.
So I guess that's all the fire department's been up to this month.
How about a safety? You been safe?
The safety department has been relatively well. We did have one minor injury. I believe a person took a swing at one of our police officers and connected. So we appreciate if you'd quit doing that. They have a tough enough job. They don't need to be assaulted. So appreciate that. No, they're a one-time use. Obviously, you know, from looking at them, like you said, they're in the environment when that was thrown in there was probably pushing 12 to 1500 degrees. You know, so they're pretty well melted right down. They do have they have a 15-year shelf life on them. They have a battery that has to be replaced at 5 years, but those two units only made it a month and a half. So I don't think we'll have an issue with that, but like I said, it's not, you know, it's not going to replace fire trucks, but it sure can buy us some time. So it's all non-toxic. It doesn't deplete the oxygen in the room, which is what a lot of, you know, like halon systems, different stuff like that. It's not anything that, you know, like I said, we can walk into that room and as soon as it's done, it's not toxic whatsoever. Doesn't deplete the oxygen and stuff. So there's really no downside to using them. So that we've seen. So they're $600 a piece. Sounds like a lot, but I guess when you look at what they do, when you look at just the, you know, the average home fire, if that would have been a fully involved house fire, we'd have probably had no less than 5 to 6 hours of time with multiple agencies, everything else on scene. Not to mention that the family would have lost everything. Nothing that we hate worse than seeing burnt up Christmas trees. Everything in their house, other than the canned goods and stuff that were in the kitchen, basically is, you know, might be smoke damage, but it's all salvageable. All the Christmas presents got carried out that morning, and they had not the Christmas that they planned, but they still had a lot merrier Christmas than if their entire house would have been burnt down. Correct. That's who we've asked to. And like you say, Waupun, on both of their incidences, both times they reimbursed them for them. So we will see when we hear back from the insurance.
Okay, anything else? If not, thank you so much.
Good.
Very informative. Police Chief Mel Peterson.
Good evening, everyone. Just real quick on as long as we're on the subject yet, you know, we carry a ton of stuff in our squad cars. You can imagine what we have back there. And the last thing we need is one more piece of equipment. But I tell you what, this equipment will make room for it somehow. This, like I said, we had the training, I think, the middle of November, thinking, well, you know, we might use them, you know, maybe once or twice next year, and here we are, like Don said, a month and a half later, and we've already used 2 of them. So, well worth the investment and the training that we had, and kudos to Officer Conover being the first one, and hopefully the last one to use it. But you know, it worked as advertised, and when you have equipment like that, we're more than happy to carry it in the squad cars. So. Okay, for the month of December, the Grand Rapids Police Department handled 319 calls for service compared to 338 calls for service last December. Again, the town board members have a breakdown of those calls. And for the year, the Grand Rapids Police Department handled 4,519 calls for service compared to 4,948 calls for service during 2016. It's about a 8.6% decrease in calls. There were 45 traffic citations, 3 ordinance citations, and 37 written warnings issued for the month of December. On December 11th through the 15th, Officer Conover and Officer Napgezek attended crisis intervention training at Mid-State Technical College here in Wisconsin Rapids. CIT is a community initiative to improve crisis interventions and teach law enforcement how to respond and successfully deal with individuals experiencing a mental health crisis. The course focuses on mental illness, de-escalation techniques, and community resources. With those 2 finishing the training, that'll puts all of our officers, all full-time officers, and all but 1 part-time officer that have been trained in this. So it's a very worthwhile initiative, and it's some excellent training, and it's I often see it on, it's being taught nationwide, so very worthwhile training. The Grand Rapids Auxiliary Police Helping Hands Initiative for the holiday season was another huge success. Through generous donations from the town of Grand Rapids businesses and individuals, we were able to assist 3 families this holiday season. This included 10 children. Gifts, clothes, basic needs, and food certificates were provided to the families so they could have an enjoyable Christmas. And I'd like to personally thank Sergeant Ashley Agan and Sergeant Roxanne Nordbeck of the Grand Rapids Auxiliary for kind of heading this up, and then all the other volunteers, the gift wrappers and people that help wrap the gifts and then also distribute them during the holidays. Vehicles in the department are doing well outside of normal maintenance, and that's all I have. Again, feel free to stop by my office anytime, and if you need to talk or want to talk or whatever. Any questions?
Any questions of the chief? Hearing none, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Treasurer Amy Cook, you are next.
Good evening.
Good evening.
For the month of December, current month receipts were $4,776,661, and current month disbursements were $209,525. Cash on hand at the end of the month was $5,330,936, and with $106,266 in checking, $183,710 in the repo account, and $316,610 in the money market. Any questions?
Can we do that every month?
I was just going to ask, how did the tax season go?
Very well, yes.
Okay.
We're still collecting, so bring them on in.
Keep bringing it in. Thank you. Item 6, consider possible action on resolution 2018-01, discontinuing undeveloped portion of Daly Avenue. You have that resolution in front of you. Any questions on it?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2018-1.
Thank you, Dan. Is there a second? And a second is by Bill. Board discussion? Any board discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye. Any opposed? No opposed, motion carries. Item is approved. Sure doesn't take long when you get to the end, huh? But it takes long to get there, don't it? Item 7, consider possible action on resolution 2018-02, Gene Zager's application for comprehensive map and rezoning from agriculture to R2 residential for the newly created CSM.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve
Motion
resolution
by Bill.
2018, number 2.
I'll second it.
Second by Patty. Any board discussion?
Just wanted to mention that we were, the Plan Commission last night reviewed this, and the Plan Commission approved everything. There's no problems with landlocking or anything like that. So septic systems were in the correct area. There was enough setback. So everything was approved by the Plan Commission.
Okay. No other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I am an aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 8, consider a possible action on resolution 2018-04, Ronald Vold application for new certified survey map. You have that information in front of you, and this is the piece that would be on the, I guess would be the northern side of, northeast side of 48th Street.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2018, number 4.
And seconded by Andrew.
Yep.
Any board discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. I'm an aye. Any opposed? No opposed. Ron, we have it up here, but it does need your wife's signature also. Do you want us just to send it back to the assessor or appraiser or the,
I know Peggy, I think sometimes she can send it back over to them and then you can get her signature.
we'll get
there,
your
or we
signature,
can hang on
we'll
to
get
it.
your signature tonight, but then we need to get hers onto it too.
Yeah, don't
Stay
leave
there.
it in.
You can sign for now.
You
and
can
that'll-
sign
yeah.
yours part of it.
Yeah.
Lisa will bring it to you.
Oh,
Good
you're
one.
one mean.
Good one. Good one.
That's what they all say.
That was a good one.
Okay, going to 9 now.
No, no, no. You didn't make a deposit.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to item number 9, consider possible action on resolution 2018-03, public depository listing. This is where we yearly indicate the banking facilities which are not in Grand Rapids that we choose to use as possible banking sources. And the list is the same from last year.
I'll make a motion to approve them as presented.
Motion by Patty, second by Dan. Any board discussion, questions? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye, any opposed? No opposed. Item 10, consider temporary liquor license for Bluegrass at the Lake, June 8th through 10th, 2018. Do we have representatives here? Here they are. Okay. Thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve 2018.
It's not a resolution, it's application for,
I have a question after a second.
I'll second
the motion was made and then seconded by Dan. Okay, questions?
Yeah, what lake?
What's each of?
Oh,
County. You're using the,
Sure.
you're using the county shelter, correct? The enclosed shelter, and that's the only building you're using there, correct? And then the, and
Friday night and Saturday, Sunday is not necessarily,
then the thing that you need to be sure that you're aware of is that, being it's a temporary license, you need to be sure that that established portion of it that is dispensing the beverages is fenced in. If you know how the aqua squares do it, that's what we would pretty much expect. You need to make sure that all the proper amount of toiletries are available, which may or may not be there already. If you want, we could probably send you one of our permit form that we use for when people are using our roads for walks, but that pretty much states the kind of things that the town is looking for you to be able to make sure that are in place, EMS services and every other thing that goes along with it. So if you'd like that, we could share that with you and get a copy to you. That way you can get a guideline to help you so you're not going into this totally in the dark and then you find out at the last minute somebody's got to have this. Okay?
So, question, do they need to fill out an event?
No.
Event, because of the fact it's on the wood count?
No, it's not, it never touches a road use.
Okay.
So our permit form is road
For
use
road
only.
use only.
It's not to say that we may or may not want to consider that permit to be a multi-use permit versus just a road use permit, but when we addressed it, it was primarily just because
Just for road use.
because we were getting so many runs and walks that were using the roadways. So
So
that's
event permit would not be applicable to this?
not at this point, but yeah, yep. hmm
Okay.
and that's so the Grand Rapids one do not need to fill out at this time?
No, you technically do not need to follow it. However, it would be prudent to be sure that you have the appropriate amount of facilities there, and we have some guidelines in there to show you what those are. So we can get that for you.
And thank you
Okay.
guys for hosting that and putting the work in. Okay. Good, good. Did you left the flyer up there? I'd like to grab one too. Okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
is there any other questions on it? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye, any opposed? No opposed. Okay, item 11, consider possible action, Chief Peterson attending the 2018 WPLP Midwinter Training Conference in Wisconsin Dells, February 11th through the 14th. Estimated cost $522.
I make a motion to approve.
I think Andrew was first, and Bill, do you wish to second? Is that correct, Bill?
Yes.
Okay. Motion been made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye, any opposed? No opposed. Item 12, consider possible action on part-time police officer Kaylee Harless resignation. Unfortunately, she was here just a very short period of time and felt that she needed to pursue a different avenue to get more hours in labor.
I make a motion that we accept the letter of resignation.
Motion by Andrew, seconded by Dan. Any discussion?
We need to,
She's in tough luck then.
my
Force her to
question
come
is,
back.
do we do an exit interview? I know that we talked about when Bob Carmel had left, and I don't know if that has happened yet, but.
I don't think she actually got on her,
Was she on field training for the most part of it?
She was still under doing a field training.
so really it wasn't to a point where she was on the road.
Okay.
She never actually filled any shifts for us
Okay.
up to that point, so.
Okay, thank you.
But I mean, if any of them, we had a recent resignation with Officer Spath. I mean, if you want to do an exit interview, I'm sure any of them are willing to do that, so.
Okay, thank you.
It's totally up to you.
I really believe it's important. I mean, it gives us more of an insight on, you know, not that we're going to hear any earth-shattering information but it helps us as a board to, because we're not here every day and we don't see it.
And if you're interested in doing that, I can help coordinate that with, you know, I have the contact numbers for those officers, so.
Yeah, I don't know that we
If
need
you
to
want to
do
do that.
Kaylee.
No, I wouldn't
She
do
was
that
just
one.
a short time, but maybe Steve. Steve had worked here back when I was working here. I mean, I know he
Yeah.
still lives in the town, and
Yeah, I mean, once an officer is
yeah.
pulling shifts and doing, you know, some time, I think it's important for any employee, not just the officers.
Right.
I agree.
Okay, did we, all in favor of accepting it, say aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye, any opposed? Nobody opposed.
Tell you what.
December disbursement vouchers, any questions? Hearing no questions, we'll just sign it and pay the bills. Operator license applications, I believe we had Quentin Anderson for the store and Robert Oswald for Marjorie Steakhouse. These are 1 year and these were approved by the police department, correct?
I make a motion to approve Quentin Anderson and Robert Oswald.
Motion by Andy, seconded by
I'll second it.
Dan. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye, any opposed? Page 2, as Paul Harvey says. Monthly reports from committees. Public Works Committee has not met, but I can tell you that the Public Works has been out more than once plowing, salting, sanding. All the equipment is in good shape. Christmas tree pickup has begun. The trees that are alongside of the road, hopefully with the butt of the tree facing the road, so it's easy to pick up and throw right into the shredder and be done with them. And next spring you can come and pick them up and use it for bark decoration for around your house.
The other thing, Mr. Chairman, another thing is, please make sure that plastic bags, a lot of them that are you use to get it out of the house or whatever, are off the trees. Take that off. Just the tree needs to be there.
No ornaments.
No ornaments.
No ornaments, no plastic bags.
Any questions on Public Works? Planning Commission, Patty, we're gonna go down to this way today.
Well, we had the two public hearings that we had this evening. We discussed that, and then also we reviewed the beginning of the business license ordinance that we're creating. So we had some discussion. We tabled it for one more meeting because we needed some more information. It was a good meeting.
Okay, any questions? Public safety, Andrew, we've met yet? No, huh?
Nope.
We have not. The WTA, Wisconsin Towns Association meeting does not meet in November. Our next one is in January at Fort Edwards, and I believe Andrew is the guest speaker.
Yep.
Is that correct?
That is correct.
All right.
We'll be learning about response to active shooter and doing a presentation on that. So civilian response to active threats of violence is what I'll be presenting on that month.
Okay, thank you. Public buildings, Dan?
Nothing to report at this time. We did have a little septic issue with a pump at the fire station, which got fixed yesterday, I think, or today, huh?
It's in the process.
Okay.
Old pump is out, we're running without one right
All right. But
now. No water usage.
it will be taken care of. Otherwise, the buildings are in good shape. We are moving forward. We're going to be starting to meet more often on remodeling of the office area for the girls.
Good deal.
It's the original pump.
Is it?
Original fire station pump, yeah.
Oh.
Amazing. They built them good back then, Gene. Economic development. Patty?
There was a water committee meeting that had met. I was unable to attend. I was working, but Bill, you had gone, and I also forwarded the minutes
Yep, we did
to
get
the
it all.
clerk, so you had a chance to review those. Bill, did you want to elaborate at all on it?
Well, one of the things is it's probably one of the, we had quite a few people there. I think a total of 23 before it was over with. But Carla O'Connell from the Wisconsin Farmers Union was there with a presentation. And it was a very good presentation. It was a very lengthy one, but however, there was a lot of questions with we had the vegetable growers there, we had farmers there, we had people from Stevens Point there with the land and water conservation. The only disappointment that came out of it was the fact that we were trying to have a summit of different people that are working on water throughout the Central Sands area. And we was going with healthy waters and healthy soils, and they decided that they're called the Packers with the peat and well flowage. The Packers, that's an organization, I myself belong to it, but they decided not to get into this summit. They started out with this healthy soils at the Mid-State Technical, and they had at that time only invited certain people, and they had 39. This summit would include about 300. It'd probably be held at one of the motels in town, but it's been decided not to. So now the group is still looking for other people together. One of the things is we went with the Clean Green Action Committee now. That's a 501c3, and Joe Ansel is chairperson of that. So we're getting together with them, and they're a sponsorship for this group also. Any questions, I'd be glad to answer.
Hearing none, Legislative Committee has not met. I was planning on scheduling a meeting 2 weeks from now, but it appears that the information is not going to be available to us, correct?
Well, we can go forward with everything with the exception of the business permit. We have probably 4 other items we could conquer, and then...
Let me check our clip of the stuff, and then we'll get back to you. We'll propose a date to everybody for you, and we'll go from there. Okay? Personnel Committee, I do not believe you met Dan with anything. Okay. Reports from individual board members. Bill, you got anything to report on?
Individual board member. I went to recycling and solid waste.
Oh, I missed you, didn't I? Yeah.
Yeah.
Checked you off.
Okay.
Sorry.
I have nothing to report.
Thanks anyway. Now, do you have anything for an individual?
Yes, there is, and I asked this question last night, and I'm only asking it to verify some things. On 64th and W in that area, there's a house that has drawn many calls to my house about, and why isn't the town doing something about it? And I found out last night at the committee, at the plan committee, that there's going to be citations issued on that for cleaning up or something.
There has been.
There has been. So, you know, I just wish, you know, we can read the police reports in the newspaper about what's going on in the town of Grand Rapids if you get the newspaper. But something like this, you know, when a resident asks you because you're on the town board and says, well, what's happening down there? Why ain't the town doing something about this or that? And I was kind of embarrassed to find out that I didn't know, and how do we know? How, as town officials, would we know that without, you know, coming in the office every day and say, are you issuing any citations or anything like that?
I think the appropriate way to do it, Bill, is just ask with Peggy, has there been any concern? She could tell you that, yes, there was, and she could also tell you that the police department has been involved in it. One call to Peggy and you'd had your answer.
Well, yes, but I know, but we get emails from you when people get their driver's license and things like that, and I think,
Yeah, you sent this one.
What?
And somebody got their CDL, so.
you know, and what's going on in the town. I don't know why this can't be sent out to the supervisors, that this is what's going on with this stuff.
It's a police action, is what it is. So, I mean, we don't. Well, we don't make it a habit of writing down every time an officer stops and issued 37 tickets and 3 municipal citations.
Yeah, I guess in public comment, I only made this comment because we can't act on anything in public comment, and I don't expect it to be acted on. I'm just bringing it before the board and the public to know if the supervisors can be more informed on this, and you can come up with an answer anytime you want, but I don't think it's proper at this time.
All right, fine and dandy. Anything else you want to talk about?
No, that's it.
Okay. Daniel.
I got a couple. First, I want to make mention too of the Grand Rapids, Nakusa, Port Edwards, and area surrounding Rudolph. I don't want to miss anybody. Stepping up and manning that fire station for Wisconsin Rapids. Personally, I don't think 20 years ago that would have happened. I think our working relationship with them is tremendous. I want to commend Don Bone, Chief Bone, and Harchie, and I guess even Tony, putting it out there. All of us available. There was so many people that stepped up and said, we'll do it. No compensation whatsoever. They would volunteer their time. Guys took days off. It was really good to see, as a fellow firefighter, all these guys step up for the community, and I commend every one of them for that. It was really something neat to just watch, because all Don had to ask was once, and he had more than enough guys, and which was really spectacular, because they're still hurting. They're going to be hurting for a while down there, and I know he has reached out to them, and anything they need, we're here for them. And the other thing was regarding that fire. I wanted to mention one thing, because I am on the fire department too for 25 years now. You got to remember, this was December 23rd, and it was cold. Okay, so we get there on a lot of these calls this time of year, and well, Gene's been on quite a few where we've all been iced up. We've used tons of water. It's slippery. Equipment freezes up. Guys are getting, you know, it's dangerous. Just not even the fire aspect, but just trying to walk around and work in those conditions. For you only using 50 gallons of water on this, and I was one of the firemen there, you know, we were outside the house, but it was literally, you know, not, you know, you could go in the trucks or in the garage. It was really fascinating to see. And this didn't put the fire out, but boy, it sure knocked her down enough to you go and just touch it up. And this is a very useful tool and will be for a lot of departments. I think I talked to a couple different ones now who are really looking at this, and I'm sure they'll have them too. So it really is a nice tool.
Thank you. Patty?
Yes, same goes for what Dan had said, you know, as far as the community effort that has gone into that, with that terrible accident that had happened. And also, I just want to say thank you to Officer Conover for his fast response and his quick thinking in order to help out with that situation. Thank you.
Anything else?
No, that should be it.
Okay. Going down the other end there?
I'm going to echo the last two for the most part. I was here for the meeting last week, Wednesday, when Don had asked and brought this up to the business meeting to the fire department that was here. All the members were here. And just the immediate raising of hands of everybody that wanted to volunteer to help was, I was shocked, because you're there on a Wednesday and Friday and Saturday night, people got plans, people got stuff going on. Just about everybody raised their hand. It was a really good overpouring of people that were just immediately willing to do that, which is really cool, and it says a lot about the people that we have on our fire department. And I would like to echo the concerns that Don has for the longevity of our fire department. We have some people here at the meeting tonight really push this out, that, you know, we're looking to, you know, bring people on board to become a part of our fire department. The longevity of it in the generations to come, as we move forward, if we don't have people that want to volunteer, we are going to have to look at other options, and that's not good for us and our tax dollars and the cost that could be associated with that. So I think that's something that, you know, it's a big concern of mine, especially looking at it from the public safety end of things, kind of in a long-term plan. It's a problem that we need to find a solution to, or we're gonna have problems. So that's my opinion. So that's all I have.
Thank you. I guess I have nothing else this evening other than to say that the airport's $4 million grant that was given to us, state DOT funding for safety enhancements, etc. We will have our engineering study, the first, what's called the 30% study, available to us next Thursday. Not this here Thursday, but Thursday the 18th. At that point in time, we'll have estimates of what each different section of the project is going to cost, and we'll know whether we're going to come in under, hopefully under that $4 million by a lot to get the project off and running. It's anticipated that on the airport, the runway rebuild project, which was scheduled with federal and state funds, is actually starting this spring. That will get started early this spring. And by the time that's wrapped up and hopefully done, we're expecting to break ground on the construction of the different parts of the different taxiways and the different parking for the airport expansion. So that should move right along and hopefully get that completed by early summer of 2019. That being said, Lisa, did you have anything? Amy, you have anything else? Other than your great report? Is there any money left in your bank for more money? Yes, there is, huh? Yeah, definitely. Okay. Item 17, public input. Anybody else in the audience wish to speak to the board one more time? Go ahead.
Speak about my CSM. At the Planning Commission meeting last night, there were two items on the agenda for this one. One was the recommendation to approve the CSM.
Mm-hmm.
The second item was the item that you had on your agenda tonight. I noticed you only had one item on the agenda tonight, and that was the second item that was on the agenda of the Planning Commission. Mm-hmm. The motion was made to recommend to the town board approval of the CSM. Mm-hmm. I feel like I'm walking out of here without a CSM approved, yet my land has been zoned residential all of a sudden.
I'm not sure the answer to that, but we'll know in the morning, once we get back with Peggy, find out.
Do I have to come to another meeting?
I don't think so. I don't know. I can't tell you one way or the other today. We can only act on what was given to us to put on the agenda.
And there was a certified map as part of the.
I know, but there was no motion to approve it by the town board, that's what I'm getting at.
Right. It may be a technicality, but.
It's a technicality, but I'm a stinker for details, I guess.
Yeah, me too.
Understand.
Me too.
Okay, hearing none, next agenda items, anything?
Yes. Maybe we can look at doing exit interviews. And then also, Wood County sent us a memo, Steve Cruiser, in regards to the emergency planning for possible chlorine spills that could occur at well 4.
Yes.
If we can
We've had that,
talk about that.
we've had that before, that's actually in the hands of the chief.
Okay.
Because that's
so
part of the fire department's response.
Okay.
And that, since we put the first well in.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
Steve is not aware of what we have on file already.
Okay.
I talked to Steve about this. She's talking about next agenda items. I think something like this, it came December 15th. I just thought if we had a portion on our agenda of the correspondence and list of correspondence like this, then we could talk about it and find out this information.
Yeah. 'Cause I don't know what it is. I
It
would like to
could, it should be a correspondent, should be something that the board looks at.
Can we-
I copied that and put it in each one of your trays. That's why I
Thank
was
you.
giving it to you. And I was expecting if somebody had some questions on it, you would bring it up to us and then we would put it on the agenda.
Okay,
That's
so
why
that's my
I was
request.
sharing the correspondence with you.
That's great. So my request would be to put that on the next agenda
And
so
we'll
we
get-
can discuss it?
We'll show you what we have.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay.
So we're not going to get Steve Cruiser in here because he does go to towns and does do this.
We believe we haven't done or any bill. If we don't, we will.
Sounds fair enough.
We, meaning town and the fire department. Okay, item 19, the town board is going to move into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin statute 1985, prin 1, prin C. Consider employment compensation and a public employer which the government body has jurisdiction and responsibility. Discuss contract with police chief.
I'll make a motion that we,
Motion by Dan, second by Patty. Roll call vote. Andrew.
Yes.
Patty.
Aye.
Dan.
Aye.
William.
Aye.
Arnie. We are in closed session. Thank you folks for coming.
Thank you.